I have always and will always do what is best for Arizonans. There is an AG investigation. I'm not going to comment further except to say that I look forward to the conclusion of the investigation and finding that we acted in the best interest of Arizonans. That is all I'm going to say about this.
Okay, but
that is all I'm going to say right now.
That was Democratic Governor Katie Hobbs shutting down questions about an alleged pay-to-play deal involving a campaign donor. The allegation is now being investigated by Democratic Attorney General Kris Mayes and Republican Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell. Each prosecutor has told the other to stand down. Who will blink first? That's one of several high-profile cases being handled by AG Kris Mayes' office. The file seems to grow every day. Welcome back to Square Off.
Thanks, Bram. It's good to be here.
I want to start with the news of the week, the DOJ investigation of Phoenix police. Assistant Attorney General Kristen Clark said the findings reveal, quote, long-standing dysfunction at Phoenix PD, patterns of discrimination and mistreatment that show the department can't be counted on to police itself. Do these findings diminish your trust in the Phoenix Police Department?
Well, Bram, look, you know, I am the top law enforcement officer in the state of Arizona. I take that responsibility very seriously. And I believe that the vast majority of our men and women in blue, our police officers throughout the state of Arizona, do a remarkable job keeping our citizens safe, keeping our communities safe. But I will say this is a very concerning report. It contains serious allegations, and my office is in the process of reviewing it. As you know, it's very in-depth, and you know, I think that it is incumbent on the Phoenix City Council and the mayor of Phoenix to take this seriously, and I think they're going to have to. They've got a lot of work ahead of them.
They've argued against entering into a consent decree with the DOJ to remedy these problems. Do you think the consent decrees have worked across the country when they've been in place?
You know, I think they can work, sure. And, you know, we do consent decrees all the time with defendants and with companies, for instance, that we sue under the Consumer Fraud Act, and we do them in other areas, so they can work. You know, I think that we have seen the cases where they have gone on and on and on, and they never end, and they can be very costly. But they can work if they're structured the right way, if both parties take them very seriously. So I, you know, would encourage the city of Phoenix to at least consider that. They've got to do something to address this report.
All right. Let's move on to your office's criminal investigation of this alleged pay-to-play scheme involving a Katie Hobbs donor whose group homes have state contracts. Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell is telling you to stand down because of apparent conflicts. Will you drop your investigation?
No. That's ridiculous. I'm not going anywhere. We are doing this investigation. We were actually, Bram, as you know, asked to do this investigation by Senator T.J. Shope. You know, he referred it to my office, and we immediately accepted the investigation and got started. We're already underway. I've got investigators assigned to this case. They will do a professional job. They'll make a recommendation to me. There's no reason for me to stand down. In fact, there are reasons for County Attorney Mitchell to stand down. It's just a waste of taxpayer dollars, and one can only assume that this is a highly political decision on her part made related to the fact that she's got a primary coming.
She was also asked to investigate, I believe by T.J. Shope as well as another Republican lawmaker. So
yeah. He co-referred it.
There's that.
But look, I am the statewide elected official who is, and the top law enforcement official for the state of Arizona, who is responsible for addressing these kinds of matters. I represent all Arizonans. If there is a criminal violation here, it would be a violation against all of the taxpayers of Arizona. County attorneys only represent one county. So, you know, there's every reason for my office to do it, and we're going to do it.
But let's walk through the appearance of conflicts. Your office represents the Department of Child Safety.
Yeah, and we have screened
they
them.
might be involved in this investigation.
And we have screened them off, and we have advised them to get their own attorneys. So we've handled that issue.
You're a Democratic Attorney General,
which is
appearing to run interference for a Democratic governor.
That's absurd, Bram. And you know me. I mean, I investigate Republicans and Democrats, and there's lots of evidence in the history of Arizona of an AG of one political party investigating a governor of the same political party. Grant Woods did it with Fife Symington. Bob Corbin did it with Evan Meekum. Mark Brnovich did it with Governor Ducey.
Mark Brnovich got into some problems for suing an agency.
Well, this is not
whose advice he received.
Yeah,
he provided.
But there's a way to do this properly, and we have done that. So
we're going to have 2 investigations.
I hope not. I mean, it's a waste of taxpayer money for Rachel Mitchell to do this. I understand she's in the fight of her life politically in a primary, but look, we're going to do our investigation, and we'll see what happens.
To another high-profile case, fake electors case. Last week I spoke to Rudy Giuliani, who was in Phoenix. He was booked here, fingerprinted, mugshot. I asked Giuliani whether he had any regrets about his attempts to overturn the 2020 election in Arizona. Let's listen to his response. Do you have any regrets about what you did in Arizona after the election?
Oh, my goodness, no.
Why not?
I'm very, very proud of it.
Rudy Giuliani, no regrets. I'm very, very proud of it. Your response?
Obviously my response is this was not something to be proud of. It was an attempt by Mr. Giuliani and others, we allege in the indictments, to overturn American democracy. And there is nothing more egregious, more serious than that.
Okay. The court's setting trial dates for the first 15 defendants, at least, in the month of October. Is that a realistic timeline, or will this get pushed back into 2025?
Yeah, our guess is that it's probably not a realistic timeline. Obviously, we're going to be ready to go to court on that day, but we expect motion work. We expect the defendants here to file a lot of motions. The court will have to deal with that. We will be prepared to deal with that. I'm thinking probably early 2025.
All right. I want to end with abortion. And this is a calendar question. As we sit here, we are taping on a Friday. The legislature could adjourn, pass a budget Friday or Saturday before the show airs on Sunday. Hope that didn't confuse you too much, but just take you inside. So this is all about the 1864 ban, your total ban, because if the legislature adjourns today, the repeal of that ban would take effect in early September. The ban itself, according to the Arizona Supreme Court and your office, would take effect at the end of September. So it appears that if the legislature adjourns this weekend, the ban will never take effect. It'll be squashed by the repeal.
Yeah, and that looks to be the timeline, and that's good news. We were concerned about the possibility that the legislature would creep, the session would creep out such that the ban would take effect. I will say we are still very concerned about, and hopefully the legislature does end and sine die. I hope they don't play games with that to try to allow 1864 to take effect. We're going to continue to fight it. My office is still considering the possibility of appealing to the United States Supreme Court the 1864 decision. We got that 90-day delay from the Arizona Supreme Court so that I could consider appealing that awful 1864 law and decision. But Bram, we're also worried about the 15-week ban that is still in place and that is still confusing doctors. And we know that doctors are every day being faced with terrible decisions about whether they can provide a medically necessary abortion to save the life of a mother or not and risk prosecution from people like Rachel Mitchell, quite frankly, who has still refused to say whether she will prosecute doctors under that law or 1864.
And you've received a request for an opinion from
Yes.
4 Democratic lawmakers who want an opinion on what the words medical emergency
Right.
in the statute actually means.
And we're going to provide that opinion, Bram, because I have had doctors say to me, I had one Banner emergency room doctor say to me, Kris, how close to death do I have to allow a woman to get who is in a crisis emergency pregnancy situation, ectopic pregnancy, for instance? How close to death do I have to allow her to get before I can avoid being prosecuted under the 15-week abortion ban? That is a crazy, crazy question for him to have to ask me, and it is insane that in this day and age, doctors are having to talk to their lawyers on a nightly basis about the kind of care they can provide women.
Got to end it there. Kris Mayes, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Bram.
When we come back, a closer look at the